and I won't say who we were listening to, who I was listening to, but I think you can guess. And the response was, oddly enough, that's a good point. It's unfair that Costco gets to sell computers and clothing and stuff like that. So what we should do is we should bar off, like rope off those areas to prevent them from selling clothing. And I'm going,
what?
Are you guys mental? Like, really? You've missed the point entirely. The point is not that it's unfair.
Oh my God.
It is unfair, but that's not the point. The point is that if you're taking these measures, to me, it's so obvious. It's so blatantly obvious that it's hard to believe that you have to actually spell it out, Nick. If you have to shut down Mark's Work Warehouse, or if you have to shut down, Lady Jane Shoes or whatever it is, okay? Judy J Shoes was a place, small shoe shop here in Ottawa. They're not in business anymore, but they had a couple of outlets. If you're going to shut those places down because of COVID-19, then you have to shut the other places down. And if you can come up with a regimen in order to make people safe in those other stores, then why shouldn't you be able to keep the smaller stores open under the same kind of conditions? And for the life of me, nobody has even offered a modicum of an answer to that question. And to me, it's such a problem. I don't advocate insurrection or civil disobedience, but in this case, I got to tell you, I completely understand it. Why should I have to shut down my restaurant if there's no evidence, unless you present me with evidence? If there is evidence, show it to me. Okay? Gosh, how often have we been hearing, Nick, for years now? We've got to follow the science. Follow the science. Follow the science on climate change, on this subject, on that subject. Follow the science. Okay,
that's right.
Show me the science. I can't follow a science you're not willing to show me. Sorry, that's my rant, Nick.
Yeah, you know something though, you're making a lot of really good points, Joseph. It's almost like the science only matters when it supports a certain position or worldview.
These guys aren't interested in science. They couldn't care less about science. They don't
obviously not. Or they take their own advice. They would say to you when that happened, is okay, so let's look at the science and let's modify what we're doing. Let's reevaluate what we're doing, and if it makes sense to make changes, which show me a scenario where it doesn't make sense to make changes to make something better, then we'll do whatever we have to make sure that the best possible result is the result, not just virtue signaling or any other stuff, because people's lives are at stake if you really believe everything you're saying. It's like Al Gore buying an apartment in downtown San Diego, right on the beach, after telling us the oceans are going to rise by 100 feet. I mean, if that's true, if you believe that, why did you buy a house in Colorado, Mile High City? Why'd you buy one right on the seashore? Obviously they don't believe what they're telling us. So you're making a lot of good points, and you're quite right about the unfairness. And I think that's another little piece of grit on the sandpaper here that really rubs people raw, because you could run down a whole list of, like, why is it the LCBOs are open but churches are closed?
Yes, because everybody.
How do you do that?
Well, because this is Canada. Everybody knows that beer is
a state religion.
Well, I won't say a state religion, but beer is an essential. Beer stores are essential, especially now that we're heading into the winter.
Yeah. Well, I hate to break it to you, but so is I would argue with you and say that churches are just as essential as beer is, and it's God. That's just one example, of millions of them that you could run. Well, maybe not millions. I'm exaggerating a lot there, but there's plenty of examples out there of where big stores are open, little stores are closed. Big stores are, liquor stores are open and other places are closed. There's no rhyme or reason to it. And that's what drives people crazy. If they can't see the logic in it, if it doesn't make sense, a lot of people go, like me, if it doesn't make sense, why are we doing this? And if there's no good answer, then frustration sets in. And I think that's what this guy Skelly has tapped into.
Sure. And now Randy Hillier has announced that he's going to be heading there for breakfast, lunch, supper.
He didn't say what meal, but he said he would be down there.
Now, you see, if I thought about this, I would have given him a call. We could have had him on the show tonight. Maybe we'll get him on next week. We'll give him a call and get him to talk a little bit about this.
Well, maybe that'll work out because we'll have something. We'll see the consequences. Like, did he get arrested? Did they leave him alone? Did the business stay open? Did they shut it down?
Right. Now, Randy Hillier, as you well know, Nick, is a fellow that doesn't mind getting arrested on something like this. No. So it'll be...
Well, Randy cut his teeth. For those people who don't know who Randy Hillier is, he is a politician from Eastern Ontario who started an organization, the Ontario Landowners Association. What's that now, 15 years ago?
Something like that, maybe more.
Yeah, he was into land rights and really... we got to know him that way, and his trademark are green and red suspenders, kind of like red-green. Always wore, well, maybe not green-red, but he always wore suspenders. And is a trained electrician by trade, and started off by leading tractors down to his hallmark was looking after the plight of farmers and the agricultural industry and land rights and so on. And from there, it morphed into a career in politics. And this guy is not afraid of controversy. He knows the parliamentary system better than anybody else in Queen's Park. And love him or hate him, he is an asset to the government of this province. You can tell because nobody likes him. Or very few people like him. Certainly not his colleagues.
Oh, yeah.
He holds them to account.
Randy Hillier.
Yeah. He's quite the character. So he won't be afraid of going down there, that's for sure.
Now, one wonders whether or not if they tried to shut down the Shooter's Grill in Rifle, Colorado.
That would not be a wise move.
I wonder what Congresswoman-elect Boebert would have to say about that.
Get the hell out of my store.
We'll be holding a few more funerals.
Yeah.
A few more funerals for a few more turkeys.
Oh, man.
That was a terrible thing to say. People, I'm not advocating violence, okay? Oh, no, here comes Nick.
He said turkeys. He never said anything about human beings.
Of course not. Just turkeys.
That's like the old Mel Brooks scene with Blazing Saddles. One more move and this guy gets it. He's holding the pistol to his own head.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
One more move and the turkey gets it.
Okay, so what's the name of this restaurant again? It's Adams or Adamson's.
Adamson's. I'll tell you in a second.
Adamson's
I got it right
barbecue
here.
Or and grill or something like that.
Let's see. Barbecue restaurant. Showed up Queen. Adamson Barbecue at around. Okay. Adamson Barbecue.
Adamson's Barbecue.
Adamson.
And the owner's name is?
Adam Skelly.
Adam Skelly. Okay, well, yep. A great shout out from the Nick and Joe show and our listeners. Adam Skelly for taking a stand. If you're in the Toronto area, and you are feeling you got a hankering for barbecue or probably other kinds of food too, because I suspect that he probably has other food available in that restaurant.
I would think he's got a full menu.
You know, I would say get in the car, come as you are. That used to be the jingle for A&W, right? To Adamson's Barbecue. Join Randy Hillier there tomorrow and make a stand on behalf of a free market and common sense. That's what we're talking about here, ladies and gentlemen. We're not conspiracy theorists. We're not saying there's no virus. We're not saying that we shouldn't take it seriously. In fact, quite the opposite. We are saying take it seriously. And the government's actions right now are not serious. They're very earnest. People, they're giving themselves a pat on the back, feeling like they're doing important work. But, ladies and gentlemen, it's not really serious. So with that, I think we're going to have to go for another bit of a break. And when we return, we are going to get into some really interesting stuff that will, if you're a Canadian taxpayer, ought to be making your head explode. So make sure you stay with us for segment number 3 if you're listening to this live. If you're listening to the podcast, it will be up on the online, available to you for download on your favorite podcast network Monday morning. So stay with us, ladies and gentlemen. We will be back soon here on the Nick and Joe Show on ThinkRadio.ca.